this is Aromie here. Welcome back to our life, Baxter DLC. We're here, wedding day, getting picked up by Terry. I'm hyped for it too. You're gonna steal the show for sure. Just try not to fall too loudly during the vows, okay?
Yeah.
What? Not you too. Miranda stuffed almost a whole box of tissues in her purse this morning, just in case. I'm not that bad. Okay, sure. There was that one time with the video of the three-legged kitten where I cried so hard I couldn't see and walked straight into a wall, but we don't talk about that. Besides, Cove's coming. How's anybody gonna talk about me when the master is right there? He'll have us treading water before anyone can say I do. That's true. It made sense his emotions were shown via tears most of all. Cove was a child of the sea, only fitting that his happiness would overflow in the form of salt water. You whiled away the journey in idle conversation, most of it wedding focused. The preparations were already well underway, but Terry was keen to stress that your assistance would be very welcome. The route brought you into the heart of the city. Both the wedding and the reception were to be held on an upper floor of one of the many skyscrapers that dominate the urban sprawl. Terry parked in a lot under the shadow of the high-rise, and after an extended elevator ride, the doors opened. Whoa, wait, oops, I did not mean to do that. Damn. It's so... gosh, the views. You stepped into a spacious room flooded with sunlight.
So?
And here we are. Aw, Terry, you look snatched, man. Impressive, isn't it? They know how to pick a place. I cannot imagine how much this costs. You couldn't help but agree. The wedding hall, which was basically an entire floor of the building, boasted floor-to-ceiling windows. The effect was dizzying. The whole city was at your feet. You weren't able to admire the view for long, however. The place was in a frenzy of preparation. No sooner had you arrived than you were being swept up in it. Baxter made a beeline for you the moment he heard the elevator doors open, his wedding planner persona firmly in place.
Nice to see you.
Hello. I missed you already. Excellent. It's good to see you both. Excuse the brevity, but as you can see, we're well underway with setting out the centerpieces already. You exchange a brief nod of acknowledgement before he gestured for you and Terry to join Miranda, hard at work by a table at the far end of the hall. Oh, Miranda, you're so cute. You're so cute. She was wearing a simple yet elegant pink dress, and her long her long hair flowed in rivulets of immaculately arranged curls. Terry called out to her in greeting as she turned and waved you over, beaming. Great, you're here. You look lovely, Michiko. You made it back to June and Scott's without any trouble, I guess. She huddled in closer and gave a furtive look around the room, and as if her brother's fiance might be in earshot by some freak accident.
Thank you.
Baxter filled us in your alibi. On your alibi. Thank you so much for making extra cake. I know Ju was beating himself up over that. She pointed to a table a short distance away. An unassuming white platter and cover rested there. A gift from one groom to another, courtesy of Michiko and Baxter's bakery. Yeah, it looks pretty great. Scott's gonna love it for sure. I sure hope so. They both will. Now let's get to it. Terry let out a startled grunt as Miranda dumped a box of guest favorites in his arms before picking up another two of her own. Sorry, we don't have time to stand around. Michiko, would you grab that last box over there? We need to take them to... A hectic afternoon of busy work ensued. Everyone had been saying it, but there was something you only ever truly understood while in the thick of it. There was so much to do. Tables to decorate, seating plans to consult, name cards to sort, rows of chairs to get set out, garlands to hang, and ribbons to tie, and candles to place into candlesticks. Miranda's parents were sitting at one of the dining tables, dressed in a matching suit and dress, folding napkins like their lives depended on it. They'd clearly been practicing. It was funny, you thought, while unpacking the centerpieces, to see so many people whizzing about in formal clothing. You wondered if this was what butlers felt like all the time. At the eye of the storm was Baxter, coordinating the efforts with poise and expertise beyond his years. The tension only served to make him sharper, more focused in his pursuit of perfection. He was a common nexus to all of your efforts, the axle around which the room revolved, faster and faster. You suppose this was just another kind of dance to him. It felt impossible to keep track of everything that was happening. You blinked and then Xavier was there, delivering their confectionery masterpiece in its grand drawer. It joined the concealed groom's cake on the dessert table. You happened to catch a glimpse of Xavier sneaking a peek under the lid. It looked like they approved, maybe. There was, surprise, not a spare minute to stop and chat with them directly. They had business to get back to, and you were also otherwise occupied. So occupied, in fact, that several hours passed without you realizing it. That better be the last one. I'm never straightening another place setting for the rest of my life. Unless it's your... Well, no. If it's your wedding, you're not doing anything, actually. You're already, busy getting prepared and dressed. Terry slumped into the chair, making a big show of looking short of breath. Miranda plopped herself down in the chair next to him and gave him a playful jab in the ribs with her elbow. Wish granted. There's not a lot of reasons you need to do that again. You think you could have let me milk the drama for a bit? Sorry again. It's too late now. You've solved it. We should... Hey, you okay? Terry put a hand on Miranda's shoulder, concerned. She had begun massaging the backs of her ankles, wincing a little.
It'll be okay.
I'm alright. It's these shoes. I don't know why I thought it was a good idea to prepare that venue in this new pair when I could have worn my regular sandals and swapped them out before the guests arrived. Sorry. At least there's not a lot of reasons you need to decorate a wedding in pumps again. Yeah, you solved it. Miranda startled at a loud clapping that rang through the hall. Baxter was standing at the far end, his hands together. The room quickly fell silent.
Bravo!
If I could have your attention, everyone? I think I'm right in the saying that we have now completed the necessary preparations for the main event. You have performed an admirable job. Nice. Now, do they go to the actual, wedding stuff? From this point on, the wedding should proceed without any further difficulty, so I'd like to invite you to enjoy the special occasion starting now. You've earned it. With that said, I've received word from the receptionist that the guests have begun to congregate in the foyer downstairs. You only need to join them to wait for the grooms to make their arrival. Thank you. You shared a look with Terry and Miranda for the three of you, with no small amount of effort got on your feet. As you headed for the elevators, Baxter came alongside. The attention was off of him for the moment. He eased into a more casual posture. With one hand in his pocket, very suave, he addressed you in each turn. Terry, Miranda, and Chico, good work, each of you.
Thank you.
In my capacity as an organizer, I wouldn't normally say this, but it's been a relief to be able to count on you today. This whole week, in fact. Don't say that. It was the least I could do for Jude, even in spite of his, lack of forethought. She sighed. I feel bad you weren't seeing my brother at his best all the time. I love him, but sometimes his head is completely up his own ass. Baxter's cool countenance gave to a sudden snort, which he tried and failed to cover with his hand. He never anticipated Miranda of all people to be the one to say such a thing. It was rare, but she knew how to choose her moments carefully. It was always a bit of a treat. Terry gave a dramatic gasp of indignation and rounded her on her with false admonishment.
Yeah.
Randy, you can't say ass at a wedding. Miranda only grinned up at her boyfriend and said as an angel. It's a good thing for both of us that the wedding hasn't started yet. It was no good trying to keep a straight face. Both you and Baxter exchanged helpless glances before joining in the laughter wholeheartedly. It had been a tiring few days, you're feeling it, now more than ever, but you made it through with a little help from your friends, and no small amount of silliness. Baxter cleared his throat, regaining his composure to the best of his ability. That being said, we should get our butts downstairs. After you, Michiko. He piled into the elevator and made the ride down to the lobby, prickling with anticipation as the floor number grew closer and closer to 1. Where's Cove? The double doors opened to a bustling energy. A thronging host of guests were lingering about, chattering excitedly amongst themselves. Baxter gave a proper tip of his head and darted off into the crowd, ostensibly to take care of arrangements for when the couple arrived. Terry and Miranda followed not far behind. You stayed put while they went around to give welcomes. Unlike you, they knew a fair number of people in attendance. Still, there was one ever-familiar face in the crowd. Damn, Cove! God, how handsome he was. Damn. He is literally a Prince Charming out of the water. My God. Towering oppressively over almost everyone else, yet standing awkwardly off to one side, was a man with a gentle face and the hair the color of sea glass. Well, we're rushing to him. He's our bestie. You darted into the crowd, making for Cove like he was your lighthouse in a storm. The waves parted, and soon enough you were skating to a halt, almost crashing right into him. Cove had spotted the movement out of the corner of his eye and lifted his arms as if to steady you. Ichiko! Hug. I had to think about it for a second. I was like, I'm trying to go for Baxter here. But he's our best friend. Cove had many good qualities, but being a premium hug material was definitely one of the better ones. He made a small sound before his arms wrapped around you instinctively. Oh my God, how do we move on from you? When they drew apart again, Cove was guarding you with fondness. Hi, Cove.
Michiko.
Clearly, how do I get away from him? Hey, Michiko, I missed you. How? How are we supposed to move on from Cove? His tenor was soft, full of sincerity. Baxter, you better step it up right now. Because, just saying. If anything, from Baxter's route so far in his step 4, I have felt nothing but sadness and heartache. His tenor was soft, full of sincerity. Tenor? I don't know. I tugged at your heartstrings to hear it in person again. That's okay. I missed you too. So cute. It was the kind of sensation that you only truly recognized the instant you gave voice to it, but it was the truth. You've been missing Cove all the way through this ordeal. At hearing his feelings echoed back at him, Cove positively beamed. You basked in the shared sentiment for a while, not really speaking, content to simply be together.
So...
How did it go with the preparation and stuff? With Baxter, the wedding planning? There was a faint upward lilt to the way he said Baxter's name, kind of like he was unsure if he remembered it correctly, though of course that wasn't really the reason. Cove had found it just as hard as the rest of you to believe that your old acquaintance had reappeared. He was still not yet accustomed to including the name in his vocabulary. The wedding's gonna be great, and Baxter's, well, Baxter. It's been eventful, yeah, it's been good. Honestly, it's been a pretty amazing week. I don't even know where to begin. Cove's eyebrows drew up in a face of mild concern. That intense, huh? Your reunion was cut short by a sudden shift in the surrounding ambience. The constant hubbub was rising in intensity, reaching a fever pitch. Something was happening. All around you, people were turning to face the entrance, craning their necks and peering around each other to get a better look. Through the glass doors, you made out a familiar splash of scarlet. There were several appreciative whispers from the congregation. A low whistle came from somewhere nearby, and you overheard a guest announce to his neighbor that the car was a Corvette. Ah. Baxter was at the head of the assembly, ready and waiting to throw open the doors. Aww, you guys are so cute! Yo, is that like sparkly or is it, what kind of texture is that? Dang, look at them! Two men exited the stylish ride, dressed in even more fashionable suits. The grooms had arrived. You peeked at the photographs from the shopping spree so you'd know what to expect, but there was always something different about seeing it in person. When Scott and Jude entered the building, the crowd parted, forming a corridor to let them pass. They would be leading the way back up to the hall from here. The crowd was shepherded into the elevators and stages. Heading back up top, Baxter stayed hard at work, directing the incoming traffic, ensuring that everyone promptly found a seat. You and Cove had arrived early and snagged a row of four somewhere near the front. Terry and Miranda appeared afterwards and took the two spares. Soon the elevator doors closed for the last time, and the final few stragglers eased into place. The betrothed were behind everyone, waiting patiently. All at once, like everyone could sense it, a hush fell over the crowd. Peering over his shoulder, you saw Baxter give a curt nod to the officiant before fiddling with a miniature remote. From hidden speakers, you heard the opening bars of music you couldn't place, something measured yet upbeat. Every head in the room swiveled to watch Scott and Jude walk down the aisle. They were bound for an elegant archway that had been erected right before one of the enormous windows. As they drew near to it, the afternoon sunshine haloed them with gold. The music fell silent, all was still. The last 5 days of your lives have been a whirlwind, a long, stressful journey towards a singular moment. You gazed at the joyful faces of the two men in front of you and saw none of that. Here at last was the magic of the ritual. There were two figures, radiant, bathed in the sunlight. They stood hand in hand with the whole world beneath them and had eyes only for each other. Never seen a handsome couple like this before. The ceremony itself was brief, with no unnecessary pomp and circumstance, but suffused throughout with sweetness. The officiant gave a welcome before proceeding with opening words on the subjects of commitment, family, and love. The exchange of vows and rings immediately followed, promises to be there for one another in good times and in bad. Scott went first, reading his vows from a little card. Jude did his from memory, his voice trembling with emotion. You tried to focus on every word, but became a little distracted by your friends. 2 seats down from you, Miranda was wordlessly dealing out Kleenex to both Terry and Cove, who on cue had begun to weep. She then dabbed at her own face, teary-eyed herself. Thereafter came the candlelighting ceremony, a moment of quiet intimacy, save for the odd sniffling. The grooms each lit their own smaller tapers separately, before igniting the large unity candle together. One by one, you watched as their hopes for the day were realized. Baxter had been right. The whole thing went off without so much as a hitch. Well, besides the people getting hitched, of course. It went so smoothly, in fact, that it was nearly over in no time at all. There was one final matter to take care of. With a broad smile and a booming voice, the officiant pronounced the marriage completed. You may now... Oh! There wasn't any point in finishing. The crowd erupted in cheers before they could get that far. Scott's restraint had been held right up until the final moment, but being forced to wait any longer to kiss his husband was a bridge too far. He jumped the gun and Jude, but it wasn't like it mattered. The hall filled with the sound of laughter and huge clattering went up as the whole congregation got noisily to their feet. The newly wedded Mr. and Mr. Adams turned to face the crowd of their family and friends, eyes bright, heads held high. They stood and waved before linking arms and striding back up the aisle. I was about to say back up the castle. They shook hands and smiled with all and sundry, leading a growing procession over to the far end of the hall where the reception tables were laid out waiting. And this is where we are going to stop for today's episode. I don't know how much is more in Baxter's DLC, because I assume it's just us up to this wedding planning, and then we get to have our own personal conversation, and then like maybe a tiny small story of us as a couple in the future type of thing, or maybe like a few weeks down the line or something. I don't know. But anything else for watching today's episode, stay beautiful, and I'll see you guys in the next one.